with Tao. Knowing through the heart. Love is knowing through the heart. Love is feeling through the heart. There are two things in the human body, human mind, and human heart. What is more important? The whole body can be removed, but if heart continues to beat, you are alive. The heart means your wholeness. So when heart fails, you are no longer there. All other things are just fragments, parts. Your hands, your feet, your head, and other parts of the body. All other things are just parts, fragments, disposable. It is, if the heart is beating, you will remain alive, intact. The center of heart is the very core of your whole existence. That is why all the mystics, the masters, have emphasized on heart than head. Vivekananda said, the culture of the mind should be subservient to the culture of the heart. Heart has its own culture. Mind knows in one way. And whatever we say that we feel, it is through the mind, not through the heart. Feeling through the heart is totally a different phenomenon. Feeling, knowing through the heart is a totally different phenomenon. The center of the heart is the very core of your existence. I can touch you with my hand. The hand will give you a certain knowledge to me about you. But the knowledge will be partial, and because hand is not my wholeness, hand is not totality, I can see you with my eyes. My eyes will give me a certain knowledge about you. From a totally a different perspective than the hands. But that will not be whole. You touch somebody, you get something to know about the person. You see through the eyes, you hear the person through the ears. These, you are looking at the person through your fragments. I can think about you, again the same thing, but I cannot feel you in parts. I cannot feel you in parts. If I feel you at all, I feel you in your wholeness. And this feeling comes through the heart. And that happens only when heart center is invoked, is developed, is evolved. It is that the seed of awakening has burst forth in you and it has started blossoming. That blossoming of the seed, when its roots go deeper into your being, is that you are growing, you are evolving in your totality. In your totality. That is the heart center for the first time is evolving. For the first time you come to know what is feeling. For the first time you come to know what is knowing. You know through the heart. I know you through the heart. I feel you through the heart. I see you through the heart. Hear you through the heart as my heart beat. I see you through the eyes of the heart. Listen to you through the heartbeat. I can think about you, but I can think about you, see you, touch you, but all these are fragments. I cannot feel you in parts. If I feel you at all, I feel you in your wholeness. This is why it is a different realm that you are entering into. That is why unless you know through love, you never know the wholeness of any person. So far, you have known your spouse, your friends, your parents, and everyone through the fragments. If someone appeals to the eye, if his voice modulation, if you through all these fragments, how do you know a person? You hear him talk, you see him that he or she is good looking, and you touch him, and all these things. Even your hugs are fragmentary, it is not coming from the heart. When it comes from the heart, it takes you in a totally different dimension, in a different realm of understanding the person, feeling the person. You are feeling through the heart, you are knowing through the heart. Only love can reveal the whole personality to you. And love is not lust as you have known. Up to now, lust is considered to be love. When the energy that you are born with, existential bioenergy, which is in the seed form, begins to blossom, begins to open its seed, that is, comes as a seed, begins to open, begins to grow into you, nourished and nurtured by the sacred, the water center in you, with the light that comes to you. Then, for the first time, love is born in you. All your life you have been, in your so-called language, saying that making love. But do you know really what does it mean, making love? Love is not something to be made. Love is something that you have to realize deep within, something that you have to feel deep within you. Love for someone, you have to feel it deep within. And if you are introspective, then you know what you meant by loving someone and what you know now. What does it mean by saying that I love this person? There is no outward expression, no outward expression. You feel this expression deep within you. Earlier, in your so-called expression of love, you depend on the other. How does the other respond to you? Now, with the heart center being developed, intuition being developed, it does not matter what the other says about you. What is important? What you say about you. What you feel about. It is important. I have heard about a very prominent writer in India. His name was Sharat Chand Chattopadhyay. Sharat Chand, put it this way. He lived in Calcutta. When he was young, they have formed a group of people. They will assemble together and they will each will start saying a sentence. I went around the savannah or around the park. The sentence is spoken by one. The next one says, there I met a beautiful person. The third one said, he spoke, and that's how the whole transcript was formed. When Sharat Chand used to go there was a girl who was a widower, a young girl. It was said that Sharat Chand has developed an affinity and a love towards that person. But they never spoke. At times he will reach before so that you can be with that person alone, but never talk to one another. Because a person who is widowed, it was during that time that could not be remarry or have any other relationship. But Sharat Chand developed a deep love for her concern. One day it happened and everybody started saying that Sharat Chand comes to that congregation only because of that girl. And one day it happened, Sharat reached the place long before and he was alone in the living room. The girl came in, dropped a piece of paper and vanished in the thin air, disappeared. Sharat picked up that paper. On that it was written, if you really love me, do not come here anymore. Because the girl could not express her love towards him because of the social traditions and norms. Sharat could not, although he tried to do. You know what Sharat did? He not only stopped coming to that place, not only that, he left that city, Calcutta, thinking that somehow or the other they may meet sometime. And then he moved from that city, that is the eastern city, to the far away western, separated by thousands of miles. He lived in the city of Dhaka, city far away from there, and he never mentioned of this. This is love. This is love. It is a silent communion. It says nothing, but it feels and it knows deep within. It is unseen but realized truth. Unexpressed but a realization, a feeling deep within. You don't need to say in words or anything. It is expressed through your movement, through your eyes, through your gestures. If you look into yourself and if you have experienced this, you will realize for the first time that something is kindling up deep within you. A deep knowing, a deeper feeling, a deeper understanding, as if you have discovered something deep within you, a reservoir of nectar, and that knows, that feels. Because love means knowing through the heart, feeling through the heart. So to me, feeling and knowing are two are not two fragments of your being. Feeling and knowing are not separate. They are not two fragments of your being. Feeling is your whole being. Feeling is your whole being, and knowing is just a fragment of it. You feel the person, and whatever you know is just a fragment. To religion, to religiousness, to awakening, love is the highest knowing, highest knowledge. That is why religion is expressed more in poetic terms. Jesus expressed. Bible is a poetic expression. Bhagavad Gita is a poetic expression that is known as Nad An. When all the sounds have disappeared, love blossoms in you when all the sounds have dissolved into you. And when you reach the point when there is no sound, and that moment you are, love has blossomed into you, the end of Nad. Nad means sound. Sound can be of any time, it can be pleasant, it can be clustered, it can be disturbing, but when all this comes to an end, there is utter silence. No sound comes from you. In deep love, you realize that you are mute, as if your system has been put on the mute. The words want to come out. It is something is happening deep within you, like you have your system on and you turn off the sound, it is mute. You see the lip movement, but you are not hearing the sound. When that state comes, there is a movement, lips movement, but no sound coming out. That means that is the end of the sound. Your expressions are there. Try sometimes to do. It is a silent communion. You are seeing the lips moving, you are seeing the gestures of the hand and the eyes and the other gestures. You are seeing the expression, but the sound coming on. That is really the state of love. Love, and that is the highest knowledge. That is why it is, and feel it within and you will know it. That is why religion is expressed more in poetic terms than in scientific words, scientific ones. Scientific terms cannot be used. They only belong to the realm of knowing. Scientific terms do not belong to the feeling. Poetry can be used, and those who have come to know really through love. Poetry can be used, and those who have come to know really through love, whatsoever they say becomes a poetry. Love is the poetic expression of feelings. The Upanishads, the Vedas, the Bhagavad Gita, the sayings of Jesus, Buddha, Krishna, they are all poetic statements. Poetic statements. It is not just a coincidence that all the old scriptures are written in poetry. It has a significance, a deep significance. It shows that there is an affinity between the world of the poets and the world of the mystic. Mystic is sometimes touched by that consciousness that dwells outside, and he is in that state that he has no control over it. Mirza Ghalib says in one of his compositions, आते हैं ये मज़ामी ख्याल में गैब से, गालिब नवाए शरोज शरीर खामा है. आते हैं ये मज़ामी, these thoughts, these ideas come from alam-e-ghaib, means the realm beyond the knowing, something unknowing, knowing beyond knowing, and that which is unknowable, it comes from there. Ghalib Nabai Sharuz Sharir Khama hai. And the sound that you are hearing a little bit is that of an angel, like when pen moves on the paper, there is a sound, a very delicate sound. It cannot be heard. You are writing something, you are not aware of this. आते हैं ये मज़ामी ख्याल में गैब से, गालिब नबाए शरोज शरीर खामा है. His entire being is that sound. It is the angel that speaks through him. It was said about Oliver Goldsmith. It was said that when somebody dies, on his grave you write an epitaph. So it said what should be written on the epitaph of Oliver Goldsmith. There was a young poet, David Garrick. He said he will write. And he wrote, he was an angel with pen in his hand. He was an angel with pen in his hand, and he talked like poor Paul. When he was talking, some people have that expression, tremendous expression, when they have the pen in their hands. They are a different person. A singer, the moment he goes in front of the microphone to speak, he is totally a different person. It was said about Vivekananda when he was speaking in the Parliament of Religions. Margaret Noble, who was initiated as Sister Nivedita, Swamiji, when he was speaking in the Parliament of Religions, it appeared as if rays of light was emitting out of your body. If you had asked us to plunge into the sea, we would have done it without a second thought. When you are grabbed by that consciousness, your words are not your words. You are simply a medium. It can happen in anything. When that begins to happen, that you are a channel for the words to happen, or any action, means you are so much dissolved into it. That is the moment that something has happened to you. You are dissolved into that. Vivekananda said, when I was speaking in the Parliament of Religions, the words were mine, the voice was mine, but the force behind my voice was of that haggard man, referring to his master. The poet is only a mystic in certain moments of light. Sometimes he is touched by that. Just as when you jump, you can go away from the gravitation of the earth. When you jump, you take a leap, and that time you are going away from the jump, away from the gravitation of earth, but you again come back to it. Again you are pulled. A poet means a person who has been for few seconds gone on a flight into the world of the mystics, that time the gravitational force of the earth is not pulling him. He has some glimpses of it. A mystic is the one who has gone beyond the gravitational force completely, who lives in the world of love, who lives through the heart. This is what is said, that the abode where Shiva lives, it is not possible for an ordinary human being to climb. Scientifically, it is said one who tries to go to that mountain and comes within that vicinity, there is some magnetic force, all different kinds. He cannot stay there. The reason is, if you have experienced love, really the heart center is kindled up, you cannot remain in that state 24 hours. A mystic lives into it. He comes for a few moments when he has to interact in the other world, in the world of objects and beings, but he brings that fragrance when he comes to interact in the world of objects and beings. It is that a mystic is the one who has gone beyond the gravitation completely, one who lives in the world of love, who lives through the heart. This has become his very abode. So where you live in the heart. What is your house? Heart. For the poetic person, it is just a glimpse. Sometimes you get a glimpse of it. Sometimes he falls down from the head to the heart. Sometimes because of certain circumstances and situations. But this is just for the time being. We cannot remain in that state forever. You realize you cannot remain in that state of heart 24 hours. Again, he goes back to the head. So if you see a beautiful poem, do not try to see the poet who has written it, because you will not meet that person. It is in a certain moment he is touched by the outside dimension beyond the mind, dimension beyond the brain. So in that moment, that composition has happened. Sometimes, if you are so much into the music, whenever you compose a song or something, it is not you, but you are touched by something unknown and unknowable in that moment, and touched by that something has happened. You will be disappointed because you will meet a very ordinary person. He had the glimpse for certain moments. Really, that moment he was, for certain moments, reality was revealed to him. You get a glimpse like a light flashed in the sky and disappeared. So there was a moment of lightning that he saw that light, and in that moment something was composed out of him. And in that flash of the light, he came down to the heart, but he does not know the passage, how to come to it. On his own will, he cannot. So if you realize in your life, whatever field you are, certain things happen in a certain moment over which you have no control. You are not master of it. It happened. It has been happening, and he cannot move to it on his own will. When an English poet Coleridge died, he left about 40,000 incomplete poems. He really completed only 7 poems in his whole life. He became one of the great poets, one of the greatest the world has ever seen. But he was asked many times, why do you go on piling up incomplete poems? And when you are going to complete them, he said he cannot do anything. Sometimes a few lines come to me and then they stop coming to me. So how can I complete them? I will wait. I will have to wait. If it happens again and again and a glimpse comes to me, and again I have the world revealed to me, the reality, then I can complete those poems. But on my own, I cannot do anything. I start something. For that, I have to be in that state all the time. He must have been a very sincere poet. To find such sincerity in a Western poet is difficult and unusual because the tendency of the mind is to supply. If 3 lines have come, then you can supply the remaining, the 4th line, and the 4th will kill the meaning, the essence of 3 lines. It will come from a very lower state of the mind. And when you come back, they will come very lower state of the mind, more so when you have come back to the earth center. When you jumped, you were freed for some moments from the gravitational pull of the earth. You had a different dimension of the being when you jumped. Really, for that moment, you are in the air. Look at the person who does the pole vault. From the gravitational force, he is in a different force that takes him into the air, and that time what he does, he takes a high jump and comes down back to the earth. A poet moves on the earth. Sometimes he jumps. In that jump, in that moment when he has taken a jump, he has a glimpse. A mystic lives in the heart. So he is a man of the head. Sometimes you move as a poet, as a singer, to the heart center. So you look at it. Sometimes some of your compositions, you are yourself surprised how this happened. It was not me that this composition has happened. And those songs are closest to your heart. When you are not into that song, it just happened out of you. But you have not realized that what is the phenomena behind it. A mystic lives in the heart. He does not move on the heart, on the earth. The heart has become his abode, and that's where he lives. So he does not really create poetry, but whatsoever he does becomes poetic. Whatsoever he does becomes poetic. Whatsoever he says becomes a poetic expression of the feelings. Really, a mystic cannot use prose because prose is of the mind, it is prosaic. A mystic is poetic, not prosaic anymore, because his prose is also his poetry. It is coming through the heart center, it is coming through love, through the channel of love. Enough